Hello and welcome to today's video. We'll be talking about pre-appointment systems. Why bother? Systems are going to allow you to stop overthinking and start acting. Whenever you get a contact, you're just going to be able to jump right into action mode. You're not going to have to worry about, oh gee, is this, what's the best time to do this? Or am I following the right script? Nope, you're just going to boom, jump right in and get it done. They're going to create structure and build in motivation to succeed. You know, it's much easier to look at a list and say, okay, I only need to do these 10 actions rather than, oh God, I have this giant four-hour block of stuff that I need to get done. They're going to generate efficiencies and allow for better results. Basically, they're going to be able to kind of block out, an hour or half hour at a time and just kind of push right through an activity versus, switching back and forth between activities, because that just takes up time and energy that can be better put to use elsewhere. Systems become routine, and routine becomes forecast. If you're making 10 calls every day and you're only getting 2 contacts out of those and you're getting 1 client, okay, you know that, yeah, if I want to do more clients, I'm going to need to make X amount of number more calls or whatever that activity is. But at least this way, by making it routine, you can forecast what your results are going to be. They're going to build in accountability. You'll know if you're doing the activity you need to or not, and they're repeatable. If you can't fully commit to being consistent with the activity, just go ahead and stop the video. You're really not going to get anything else out of it. I do want to take a quick moment, though, and just kind of walk through the digital home buyer journey. This is according to the National Association of Realtors. Obviously, everyone is online nowadays. That's completely unavoidable. But the thing to remember is people are looking on their mobile. That's supposed to be a 4. They're using their mobile to look for real estate, and the majority of people actually found the home that they purchased on their phone. Like, to me, that's an absolutely mind-boggling stat, but it really shows you that, yeah, we need to make sure that we're kind of being mobile friendly, especially in some of the other videos where we're getting into the lead gen side and focusing on the mobile aspect. Here it is popping up, super important. We're going to split this into 2 sections. We're going to look at outbound activity and inbound. It's just going to make a little bit more sense that way as we work through everything. Now, when we start everything out with our outbound activities, a lot of times we just get these leads and we don't really know a whole lot about them. They're going to be somewhere on this timeline here, whether they're looking at 12 to 18 months, 3 to 6 months, or they're looking to do something pretty much right about now. And so when we're going through and qualifying, remember, even if someone's aspirational now, if we're not doing the right things, we won't have a chance to get them into that research phase. And if we're dropping the ball here, they're not going to move into the transitional phase. So make sure that we're following up and being consistent so they can move everyone down through the funnel and we're not letting them fall out unneeded. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's lots of different ways to do this. The specific form or format doesn't really make a big difference. It's only your actions and the consistency that do. Here's just a nice little example of time blocking. I literally just pulled this off the internet, did a search for daily realtor schedule. I think there were about 36,000 results. But this one has kind of everything a little bit balanced and has some repeat activity in here. You don't have to follow it, but once again, the entire point is to be consistent in your approach. I personally like this agenda format quite a bit. Blocks everything out into nice little 1-hour sections. You can even kind of slice it in half here, like with the FSBOs and expired, and only go a half hour to each. It gives a structure to your day, gives you time limits for everything. Like, personally, if I'm looking at this, I mean, wow, if I'm just doing lead gen from 8 a.m. till noon, I have a hard time getting into that. But if I'm looking at saying, okay, from 8 to 9, I'm just doing cold lead gen, that's a much more attainable goal. Or if I'm looking at, okay, from 10 to 11, I'm doing referral prospecting. I can do that. I can do just about anything for an hour. Like 4 hours, like, oh man, that's just a lot. That's a drag. Also gives you some notes here on the left-hand side to kind of be a little bit more flexible and to add things as you're going throughout the day. And then down here, this daily summary section, this is also super important because later on, when you're looking back through your notes and you're looking back through all your activity, this is really kind of your section to put your highlights, and this is going to let you know, hey, what is or is not working, or just kind of how you're feeling as you're going through it, which is going to help you make adjustments later on. As much as possible, let the CRM do the work. You can't possibly remember all the activities and follow-ups and everything else out there in the world that you're going to have to do. But if you're using your CRM correctly and the contact again dates, it'll automatically import it into your Outlook calendar. And so at the beginning of the day, when you're opening up your email, you're looking at the calendar, it'll have all of your contacts again, and it'll make your prospecting so much easier if you just let CRM do the work. So you take all those contact again information, you just kind of add them right in here to your prospecting sheets, wherever it might need to be. And it's actually going to be really easy to fill this out, and it's going to make you much more systematic in your approach to your follow-up with folks. Once again, there's a million formats for this out there. I like this one because it breaks things down into very manageable chunks. And while it looks really simple, this form will actually probably take a good hour to fill out if you actually go through and do each and every part of this. And once again, it's about getting regular and just kind of working through it. It also has some nice little sections down here for tracking your conversions and everything else. I made a more generic form of this. I have a link down below in the description to it. If you want to use it, great. If you want to make your own, you're welcome to it. Hey, if you want to steal someone else's, just do something that's going to work for you and keep you consistent. Now, when we're getting into contacts, a lot of times it's really tempting to just call once or twice or 3 times and kind of give up saying, I'm never going to reach this person. But the reality is you have to contact people a whole bunch of times before you actually have a meaningful conversation. This is from InsideSales.com. Their studies indicate that, if you actually want to have a good contact with someone, you're going to have to reach out to them at least 6 times. That's a very minimal number. You'll see other numbers and studies from places where that number can get up to like 10 or 12 or 15. But the entire point is that you have to contact people several times, and you're going to have to try several different mediums and channels to really reach out to them before you have consistent, meaningful contact. Now, kind of speaking to other channels, text messages, everyone reads their text messages. If they're in a meeting or something, they'll glance at their phone to see a text message, but if it's a voicemail or something or a call, they'll just hit hang up. So your message has a much higher likelihood of getting answered or at least seen if you're sending a text message. One of our agents brought up a good point from someone that he respected quite a bit. And he actually used the script for text messaging right up front. If it was a cold call, he would send that person a text saying, hey, this is Joseph Hare from Redefy Real Estate. I'm going to be giving you a call in about 10 to 15 minutes. Talk to you then. It's a nice, friendly, easy way. It kind of opens up the channel. It gives a person a reason to expect your call. And it's just a nice, easy way for him to kind of get that in motion. For your text messages, don't be afraid to use a script. You can do all kinds of fun stuff with it. It doesn't have to be the same thing over and over again. And if you're creating scripts, you can actually just copy and paste them from your clipboard. So that way you're not trying to do 500 different things and typing out all this stuff all the time. You can just pump through it really quickly if you're just basically copying and pasting. If you're sending out emails, a really easy way to kind of create some content for that is you have a fairly generic item here, like Doug's video down here for a market update. You can just put a quick header on it with like this, like, hey, John, last time we talked, you mentioned you were still thinking about purchasing in spring. Here's what's going on in the market today. Say hi to Nancy and give Fido a belly rub for me. And then it just sends them out to the video. Like, it doesn't have to be a whole lot. And once again, you can pump this out really quickly. But the main crux is the video here that you're sending people to stay in touch with just a quick little note. That's all it takes. It doesn't have to be anything terribly complicated or super busy. Once again, don't forget to update CRM. There are a bunch of companies that do this kind of thing regularly, that you literally outsource all of your follow-up to them. I'm not saying to use them, but I want to bring this one up in particular just to kind of show you a couple of things. Following up doesn't have to be this big, giant, ugly thing. This company, for 21 days, within that time span, they'll send 10 calls, 4 texts, and 4 emails per lead. That's it. That's all they're doing. They're just kind of reaching out. They'll send a call, they'll send a text, they'll send an email. They'll try a couple of more calls, then a text and an email, then they'll try a few more calls, then a text and an email. Just kind of spread out over the first few weeks. That's not a lot of work. It's really not. If you're not getting the response, you can pump through all of that activity, that entire 21 days worth, in about an hour. Like, it really won't take a whole lot. But I did want to point out down here, what this company charges per 100 leads per month is $1,200. That's a lot of money. So people are literally spending thousands of dollars to outsource this very basic, prospecting and lead nurturing. And it's completely crazy and unnecessary. I mean, to do all of this stuff, like we just said, it doesn't take a whole lot of time or energy. But agents are so afraid to do it. They will pay companies thousands of dollars a month to do this. That's just absolutely mind-boggling. Now I want to point out one other super crazy thing here. This company, Rockerbox, they have a wait list of about 4 months right now. So you literally cannot pay them enough money. You cannot pay them enough thousands of dollars per month in order to have them follow up on your leads. That's how valuable this prospecting is, and this just daily activity. Like, you can literally spend thousands of dollars a month to have someone else do it. Now, if I were to look at you and say, hey, I will pay you $3,000 a month to follow up on your leads, would you do it? Of course. The only difference is, when you're looking through your own stuff and prospecting for yourself, is you're paying yourself. And it can be really tempting to, just kind of completely discount that and say, it's just what I have to do. No, this is actually where you're making your money. You can either pay someone else to do it, or you can do it. It's really that simple. And as you're kind of working through, don't forget to kind of reach back to your past clients or anyone else out into your sphere of influence, to try to get those referrals. It's a much higher quality of lead. It's a lot easier business to close. You don't have to, just plow through 4 hours of, cold reaching and cold dialing every day. Mix it up. You got to, do a half hour of cold calling, and then to do like a half hour of, following up in your sphere of influence. Just kind of breaking it up a little bit into chunks like that will kind of keep everything a little bit fresh, and it'll keep it kind of top of mind, and it'll keep from going crazy. All right, so let's take a quick look at our inbound marketing. So you've been doing all this stuff. You've been putting videos out there. You've been doing Facebook ads. You're getting results coming in, and okay, well now what? Let's take a brief moment and take a step back here. According to the California Association of Realtors, the green line here is expected response time from clients, and the red line is actual response time. Now, we're all guilty of this at some level, and the whole point here is to be aware of it and to do better. Nowadays, people expect to be called back or contacted again pretty much instantly, that they're not going to wait. If you're looking at under a half hour, that's almost 80% of people. I mean, 4 out of 5. And if you think about your own, kind of actions, when was the last time you tried to order a pizza and they didn't get back to you within, a few minutes? You probably just called the next place. You moved on, and people are going to do the exact same thing with you. Only they're paying thousands of dollars rather than $20. According to a study from Keller Williams and Baylor University back in 2016, they identified the ideal response time is under 5 minutes. If you've noticed a lot of these videos, I talk about staying under 5 minutes. That 5-minute line came from a Zillow study back in 2012. But times have moved on and expectations have increased. People want to be followed up in less than 5 minutes. They want it now. But the average agent, even on a text message, is taking a half hour to get back to people. A phone call is taking a couple of hours. An email, it's almost 6 hours. Forget it. You might as well just be writing them off in terms of the average agent here. So this is what your competition is doing. This is what you're up against. Can you beat that? Yeah, I think so. Now, when they were looking at from a California Association of Realtors a study in 2015, they were looking at the reasons buyers and sellers chose an agent. Up top, this previously used an agent. That's actually an incredibly high number. Apparently, agents in California are absolutely killing it. More than likely, what's happening here is this is just selection bias, who they sent the survey to. But I did want to point out this middle section. Always, you want to be quick to respond, but just being first to respond doesn't necessarily guarantee you a client. If they're sending you a text message saying, hey, can you tell me more about 123 Main Street? And you just reply back, immediately with, hey, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back in 20 minutes. They're moving on. And so they're looking at most responsive as kind of being the lead indicator. And so what they're looking at there is, hey, yeah, I'm in a meeting, but here's the basic information. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2,200 square feet. I'd be happy to set up a showing for you. Can I call you in 20 minutes? that's a different response than just a, hey, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back. Now, down here with the most aggressive, obviously the sellers are going to be a little bit more in tune with this. Typically, sellers want a shark. And so what they're looking at here is just people that are being more aggressive. And it doesn't have to be a hard sell. It's literally just asking for the business. So if you're kind of looking at this being, the first to respond, that's being responsive and asking for the business, you're collecting, 2/3 of the business, just right out of the gate. You're not even having to fight for it. So this is what people are looking for. Give it to them. I do want to kind of harp on one other thing here. For average agent responses, look at these non-responsive types. Never responded. The majority of text messages weren't followed up on. Half of email was, and only 2/3 of phone calls. Whether it's a fear of failure, a fear of looking silly, whatever it might be, just call them back, text them back, reply in kind. It's really easy, and you will do better than the majority of your competition. They looked at the 3 reasons consumers weren't satisfied. Slow communication. If you remember a couple slides back here, agents aren't meeting people's expectations. They're replying much, much slower than people want. 61% did not communicate in their preferred manner. Personally, I prefer to, try to reply in kind. It's not always possible, but at least, you can kind of do it whenever possible, even if it's just a quick text message to say that you're going to call them. You're responding in kind, or, an email, kind of the same thing. It's just, matching what people want and what you're going to give them. And then communicate it in effectively. That's pretty much self-explanatory. I highly recommend you create an inbound sales sheet. Once again, millions of them out there. It's really simple. It's just a contact capture or information capture sheet. You can use this to kind of walk through a conversation. You don't have to have a script, at the ready. You don't have to have that kind of thing, because you can just literally walk through the box. Oh, hey, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Was it John Smith? Okay, great. Yeah. Oh, are you living at where are you living at? Okay, 12 Barber Avenue. That's great. Hey, what's the best type of phone number to reach you? Okay, you just gotta walk right through the whole conversation. What price range are you looking for? Is there a specific school district? Do you prefer a single-family home or a condo? You just walk right through it all, and by the end of this, you've had a good 5 or 10 minute conversation, and you can start to kind of ask a little bit more qualitative questions by the end of it. But you'll have everything that you're looking for, and as long as you're kind of sticking to the form, you're making sure that you're not going to miss anything. Of course, once you're done with that phone call, you're going to put them into CRM, and then set your contact again in your follow-up notes, so that all this is just going to be kind of looped back in. So you have to remember, all those inbound stuff at one point is going to be an outbound lead, so you have to treat it appropriately. All right, so we're going to talk about tracking, and you're going to need to know your numbers. You're going to need to be aware of what you're doing, assess it, taking a look, is it working, and then making adjustments. You're going to be tracking time and expenses, your conversations, leads and appointments, and then your listings, your sales, and your revenues. And we're going to use a couple of tools. We're going to kind of recycle that prospecting sheet, and we're going to set up just a basic personal profit and loss statement. Why we're checking things, you have to be aware. If you don't know where your time and money is going, how on earth are you possibly going to maximize things or make changes that are going to be beneficial? You're just running into the woods without a compass or a map. You're going to get lost. Assessment. Hey, is this working? And a lot of this is going to be very qualitative. If you're thinking about it, the average agent's time is worth $22 an hour. So is that activity going to generate enough money for you? Or the opposite, is it something that you really enjoy doing that you might not get quite that return on, but you can kind of substitute money elsewhere to kind of even everything out? For example, if you absolutely love making Facebook ads, like that's your purpose in life, that might be worth $22 an hour to you. Or if you hate doing it and you just want to find someone else to kind of manage that for you, there's lots of people that'll do it, and they'll probably charge you less than $22 an hour. So it's going to be up to you to say, okay, is this activity worth my time? And then, of course, adjust. Depending on the answer to that assessment question, you're going to take time and money away from activities that don't provide you the return that you want, and focus those on the activities that are generating the results that you want. Now, what to track? Time. It's the one thing you can never get more of. You be extremely cautious when you use it, and use it well. Expenses. If you're not getting enough money coming in to cover your bills, you're going to need to know that. And if you need to keep track of where your money is going out to. Because once again, it's going to come back into that assessment and adjustment section. We're going to look at our contacts and appointments. This is helping you to establish your conversion ratios, and that's where your forecasting is going to come from. If you need to close, 5 buyers a month, and the activity that you're doing is only generating 3 buyers a month, you're going to know that, yeah, okay, I need to, up my contacts by 40%. But if you're not tracking it, you won't know. In sales and revenue, obviously you need to, have enough money coming in to cover your bills. But more importantly, you need to track where that money is coming from. If you're spending $50 a month on Facebook, generating 5 clients from it, but only closing 1, that's probably not too bad. But if you're spending that same $50 on like a pay-per-click ad or some other marketing activity, you're only generating 2 clients from it, but you close both of them consistently. Even though you have a lower client count from that, but you're closing them higher. That's where your real money is coming from, and that's where kind of tracking the source of your revenue is going to be really important. So you can use that prospecting sheet and your inbound sales sheets to kind of track this stuff, especially your prospecting sheet, because we already have this little tracking mechanism built in. It's really easy to fill out. You just kind of cross through it as you're going, and you just move on. It's super simple. At the end of the week, you kind of look back at your sheets, add up all your numbers, do 2 calculations, and you have everything in hand. Now, you can use this prospecting sheet to track your contacts and appointments and your time. That's actually the form down there. You'll see it on the generic sheet as well. And on your personal profit and loss, you're going to be tracking your expenses and your sales and revenue. Kind of those things on the right-hand side of these slides versus the left-hand side. Once again, it could just be a simple spreadsheet. It could just be a sheet of paper with your income on one side and your expenses on the other. The point is to be consistent with it and track it so that you can make your adjustments. Now, accountability, you're a business owner. This is your money, this is your time, and this is your life. As a manager, I'm more than happy to help you stay accountable to yourself and to your business. I'm sure your manager would be more than happy to as well if you need that kind of outside guiding hand or that extra person to be accountable to. But at the end of the day, you're accountable for yourself. You have to realize that. This is your business. You have to go and ask for it. Remember, just because you may not feel too great about an appointment doesn't mean that the prospective client feels the same way. And you're always going to lose the business that you don't ask for. So stay systematic about everything. Make your adjustments, make your tweaks, and go crush it. Thank you for watching.